Your home should be your safe haven, but sometimes your home is harbor for toxins that could affect your family's health.
In today's Angie List report, 3 toxins could be lurking in your home and what you can do about them.
Consumers may not realize, but there are potential dangers in your home.
The first and very common culprit in many homes, mold.
When it first happened, I was not as concerned because it was such a small area that got moldy. But then when I had it patched and a few months later found mushrooms in the carpet, and then when I realized it was a much larger area and it had gotten to the point where it was growing mushrooms, then I was more concerned. So then I had a company come out and test, and they went into the crawl space, and I had not gone into the crawl space. I don't want to go into the crawl space. That's when they found a lot more mold than I was expecting. So once I knew how much there was, then I was really concerned.
There's a minimal level of mold in every house, and a lot of times you might find it in your bathroom or your basement, but the key here is keeping it at a minimal level. But if you find that you have more mold, you want to have it taken care of right away.
For homeowner Rebecca Schaub, she needed to call in a professional.
They found that it was into the wall, and I had not anticipated that. I knew that the floor was affected because I could tell that, and that's where the mold was growing. I didn't realize until they did some kind of water level test where it's a special thing that they can just point and click and they can tell how much moisture content is in the wall. That's when they found that it had gone up and affected the insulation. So I didn't realize there was mold in there.
If you're not sure if you have mold, contractor Mike Honan says trust your senses.
Generally 2 ways, either through visual or smell. Generally mold puts off an odor, so you will smell it. Visually, obviously, if you're walking throughout your home and you see it, everyone knows what mold looks like, so it's pretty typical that those are the 2 things.
Experts say if you have less than 10 square feet of mold damage, you could tackle removing that yourself.
Typically, there are options where they can actually remove it themselves. It depends on the situation, but the majority of the time they should seek professional help, just because once you disturb the mold, then the spores tend to spread. So we're trying to, in our situation, control that environment. So the homeowner in small situations, if the mold's not too prevalent, then they can do the cleanup themselves.
But before you do that,
first thing you want to do is to have your house tested, and you want to have it tested by an independent tester who sends it to a lab to have the results analyzed.
The easiest way is to do a tape lift, and that's something where we can send you a specific type of material, and then you would press it directly on that mold and then send that back to us. It's $35. It's called a tape lift sample, and that's if you see some mold visible.
Another possible toxin you could have in your home, radon.
Radon is an odorless, colorless gas that is caused by the breakdown of uranium in the earth, and it can actually seep into your home. So it's important to have your home tested for the level of radon, and if it reads too high, you need to have a mitigation system, because if you don't, it can lead to health problems. In particular, radon is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers.
So how do you know if it's in your home?
The best method to collect a sample is a short-term test. It's the quickest, cheapest, and most reliable way. And that's just going to give you a snapshot of the radon in your home. And it's going to give you a baseline for whether your level is low or high. And from there you can do further testing or do mitigation as needed.
And the cost?
Anywhere from $20 to $25. And that includes everything. And also we kind of give you some information about what your results mean.
The third toxin that could be in your home, asbestos.
Asbestos is a harmful toxin, and it was most often used in insulation and in construction materials prior to the 1980s. So if your house was built before 1980, your home might be at risk. And the only way to discover whether you have it is to have your home tested.
A homeowner has the opportunity to have their home inspected for asbestos. We would recommend that they utilize a local consultant, home inspector, that can actually take samples of suspect materials. You're not able to look at materials and understand if it contains asbestos or not.
And if it is present, that doesn't necessarily mean removal.
As long as the material's in good condition, the material can stay in place. Generally, we don't recommend removal unless there's one, a renovation occurring, or two, the materials delaminating or falling apart. In that situation, then you would call in the professionals. But if the material's in good condition, we recommend just to leave it.
Now, if you are concerned your home has one of these toxins, the first step is to actually have your home tested. The key here is to have someone test it that is independent. The test is going to be sent off to a lab to be analyzed, because what you don't want is the same person testing it to be the same person who's actually going to fix the problem. And sticking with your home, the folks at Chop Tank Electric Cooperative work hard to make sure your lights stay on. This year is a very important year for Chop Tank Electric. We'll explain why, plus a behind-the-scenes look at operations and what it takes to make sure that your power stays on.
And later, I may have lost to Brian in last year's high heel race, but this time around, I'm not going to lose. I'm going to show him how it's done. We're getting ready for a rematch, plus find out how you can put on your heels and race, all for a great cause. Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.